Oh my God, it's a day on the Heath. We're out here. We're feeling embarrassed. We're doing what we can, honestly. We're doing what we can. There are some people walking about, and I'm not as hidden off the path as I was previously. But it's good. Oh, I forgot my glasses. We're trying not to get stung by bees, but I'm kind of in all the bees' food, so who knows? I'm very afraid of bees. I mean, not afraid. A bee's like a friend with a handgun. Hello, pal. You know, you're like, you know he's a good guy, but he's still armed. It's still a little terrifying. I played Little League baseball, and my family, I watched one of the videos of me playing baseball. I was way out in right field, of course. That's where they put the kids who can't play very well. Way out in right field, and there's a home video of me not paying attention to the game at all, just on bee watch, just looking at all the clover flowers, terrified that a little friend with a gun might get too close. Oh yeah, we're right under the flight path today. Because I got stung once. I got stung by a wasp though, not a bee. Bees have always been nice. Knock on some wood right now. I got stung by a wasp as a kid, and after it stung me here, then on the face, and I grabbed it, and I wouldn't let it go. And my mother came over, and there were some friends around. And I remember the whole moment in slow motion, kind of with the soundtrack from the end of Gladiator. And I'm crushing the wasp. And she's like, open your arms, open your hand, open your hands. And I'm like, I can't do it, I can't. Tears streaming down my face, everyone looking on. And then I opened my hand, and there were so many wasps around, they're just in the air. And just the corpse of this wasp got blown gently by the wind down and away. And ever since then, I thought maybe it could happen again. Maybe I could have a Beelapse. I mean, come on, am I alone out here or what? Beelapse? That's gold, baby. That is gold. All right, we're back. I'm an American comedian making my way in London, and my wife left me. My wife left me for a work trip. She will be back, but I'm living like a divorced man. I think we both had these weird feelings of feeling like we were getting married too young. We're like, are we rushing into this? Are we getting married too young? And being married, especially living in New York, I felt so old. Nobody is married in New York. You know, and it's very divided between the people who will forever have Peter Pan syndrome and just keep hopping from one relationship to the next, and the people who are desperately looking for love, but they're in New York and it will never happen because everyone is hopping from one relationship to the next. So I got married, and it felt strange being the married guy. I have now leaned into wife guy territory. I'm very comfortable with that. I think you should. If you're gonna get married and not love your wife, what the hell are you doing, dude? That's my most conservative opinion. You should be a wife guy, at least a little bit. But yeah, my wife left, and immediately my skin started breaking out. I had been having adult acne, and I was asking myself, why? Why is it breaking out? Is it stress? What's going on? And then I realized every night I've just been doing comedy shows, having a few beers, and then eating fried food on the way home. And that's not good. And this is one area that London does not shine in. At night, everything healthy closes. The only places open are the chicken shops. You can get a fried chicken sandwich any hour, any second, on the streets of London. Doesn't matter the time of day. But dare you want something slightly healthier? And I'm not saying that, you know, New York had better health options, but I am saying at least a slice of pizza. A slice of cheese pizza seems a little bit healthier than a deep fried chicken sandwich covered in that mystery spicy sauce. It's something there. It's gotta be, right? So yeah, my skin has been breaking out because of alcohol and fried chicken, and I think that is the mystery solved. These are the perils of being an adult in this world. You will still screw your skin up somehow. You will buy expensive creams to try to revitalize that skin. None of them will work. What does work? A cold shower, a nap, and not abusing your body. Not abusing it. Be like the humble bees. Doing the job, going out, getting a little pollen, going back home to your family. That's all you need to be doing. These bees don't partake in the sins of man. Nay. Nay. But yeah, I've been feeling a little bloated and my skin's bad. I was raised on an American diet. I think maybe the fact that there's not microplastics in the food, there's still microplastics in the food. Maybe I'm just used to a much more plastic diet. And now I feel like besides the chicken sandwiches at night, I feel like I'm eating healthier during the day. It is maybe easier to eat healthier. Although I have been drinking a lot of Huel because I do not plan my meals out well enough. So I have girl dinner all day. I'm just like, okay, a few carrots, some chicken, a pickle, that's lunch. But that's all healthy. That's all healthy. But then when I'm running around town trying to go do comedy spots, you do get in a bind where you're like, I need something quick. I can't eat another chicken sandwich. So I have been drinking the Huel. And Lord, Lord, are my farts bad. I was at a comedy spot that I knew nobody at, and I was away in the corner, and I thought it would be a silent one. I just ripped ass in the corner. I don't know anybody here. If you're with your friends and you rip ass in the corner, you can be like, I'm drinking a lot of Huel. If you just rip ass at a comedy show where you don't know anybody, you're the guy who came from another country and ripped ass in the back. You're an antisocial creature. They'll throw you in the canals. They'll tie you to the front of someone's canal boat, and they'll parade you around town. You cannot be doing that. That's no good. That will not make friends or influence people. It's a nightmare. Can't believe I did that. So I gotta kick the Huel. Gotta kick the Huel because they're making me gassy. And sorry for sniffling. It's just everything in this country is making me congested. I'm allergic to everything here. I went an allergy test. I did the prick test, and you're trying to make jokes. You're like, oh, the prick test, don't need a test to tell me I'm a prick. And she's like, I'm at work right now, sir. And you're like, never mind, just stab me. And my whole arm swelled up from whatever allergens. And I was like, all right, what do we got? What's the damage? And she was like, here's a list of all the grasses that you were allergic to. And I was like, oh. And then she was like, here's a list of all the grasses that grow in London. And it was the same damn list. I was like, what do I do? And she's like, I guess you moved from London. So the world is conspiring against me, but it's deeply embarrassing that my ancestors survived famines and wolves and Vikings. And I'm like, the trees are out to get me. The trees. They're attacking. So I'm falling apart. That's what I'm saying. My skin is bad. My nose is stuffy. I am a man in his 30s. Falling apart. I'm losing it. We'll have to cut around the sniffles. I'm losing it. Yeah, so I was raised on an American diet, I guess. And when you leave home, Americans, don't you just miss a buffalo chicken sandwich? A buffalo chicken pizza? Why have the good people of Europe not discovered buffalo chicken? When I was, we stayed with my wife's family a while back for an extended period in Spain. And in Spain, I started craving a buffalo chicken sandwich so hard. I went down to the market, I bought all the chilies, I bought the white wine vinegar, I bought whatever else you need to make buffalo sauce. I looked up the recipe, and I went home and I made it. And it came out excellent. It came out great, and I made a little buffalo chicken sandwich with homemade blue cheese. It was incredible. And, homemade, I buy the blue cheese, you mix it with buttercream, whatever. And it was so good. But then afterwards, I didn't wear gloves or anything while I was making it, so after my sandwich, suddenly my hands started tingling. And I guess like the capsaicin or whatever was kicking in slowly. So it took some time. So I'm sitting watching this movie, and all of a sudden I just can't feel my hands. And I just spent like 2 hours with my hands just in milk. It hurts so much. But that was the price I was willing to pay to find a buffalo chicken sandwich in Europe. I had to make my own. I had to reach into the dirt of this earth and craft the sandwich. But God damn it, I did it. I would prefer to buy it though. I would not prefer to have multiple hours of dead hands. Can't touch anything, can't touch my face. Dare I wipe? I got the spicy hands. So that was hell. Yeah. But the shows have been going well here. The shows have been going well. Here's my gripe. Gripe number one of London, gripe number one of being an American in London. Why has the city got to close so early? This place, everybody packs up and goes home at 10 p.m. I'm not doing spots till 10 p.m. So I leave into to 28 days later, whatever, 28 years later, whatever those movies are. I leave into a zombie apocalypse. The streets are bereft of people. The only thing open is the occasional chicken shop or 24-hour beer store. There's nothing on the streets. And it makes you feel sad and lonely. Why can't I walk outside and have people having little late night dinners like Spain or something? Why can't we walk outside and see a lively city? And here's the thing, because I'm sitting in the middle of a park right now, so I do have to be grateful that the city has a lot of beautiful green space, but it is so damn spread out. And I love the green space. I love what they've done. They've packed, 9 million people here. Well, not packed, they're spread all over. But it is, you sometimes get on the train for 45 minutes. You come out from your spot, you realize, oh, you take a different train. It's an hour, 15 minutes home. And you're just going through an empty city. An empty city where Jack the Ripper thrives. This is how he got away with it. You have to have people on the streets. So that's no good. So that's my gripe one. Keep some things open. Let me buy a salad at 11 p.m. Is that too much to ask? And I'm not getting like a Sainsbury salad or something. I'm not debasing myself with a gas station salad. Let me go into a grocery store that's open. Oh, a crow has joined us. This is the beauty of a podcast outside. We got bees, there's bugs everywhere, there's a crow, possibly gonna fuck with my camera gear. There's an airplane over. Hey, get out of here. He's fucking, hey. Scoot. That was all off camera, but I am being fucked with by the wildlife. There's a bird overhead, if you know what I mean. I think this crow will be back. I think this crow will be back, and I think this crow will be a problem, if I'm being honest with you. Because he's sitting over there, he's looking for shiny objects, and dare he peck my camera, I will fucking lose it. Being hazed by the wildlife. I have a little green space in the back of my apartment, our flat, if you will, and there's a little pond, and it's a duck party every day. Every day it's a duck party, and some days the crows fight the ducks. And some days while the crows are fighting the ducks, the fox comes out, he tries to get a little nibble in as well. It's a whole menage a trois out back. It's the highs and lows. Oh, gripe number 2. I love all the bugs. This is a prelude to the gripe. I love all the bugs, okay? I'm out here, I feel like a child again. I grew up in an area where right behind my house we just had woods. It was filled with bugs. You'd lift a rock and there'd be roly-polies everywhere. And I'm surrounded by the bugs of London, and I love them, okay? I do. I don't love how many spiders are in my home, because I was telling myself for a while, I'm like, spiders are friends. But now the friends, it's a real party, and it's been a bit of a problem. And I'm relocating them, but I keep the windows open. There's no screens in London because it's rarely an issue for mosquitoes or anything. So I do have a lot of spiders trying to visit. And here's the gripe. The reason they're visiting, okay, gripe 2, ladybugs. All right, we do love a ladybug. You see one, they're a sign of good luck. My home currently has an infestation of ladybugs. I keep the windows open. These ladybugs, they're invading. Every day I have to scoot 10 to 20 ladybugs out, and there's still more. And some days it's even worse than that. And it has been a real problem. Because one is a sign of good luck, but when there's a lot of them, the luck wears thin. You don't feel so lucky anymore. What is this leading to? So that has been a real problem. And then everyone here is like, oh, it's the Asian ladybugs. That's why it's all these Asian ladybugs that are taking over. And that does feel like we're doing the immigration debate, but about bugs in London. I suppose better than having conflicts between ICE and protesters in LA, but what can you do? We live in hell. We live in hell. Every day you turn on the news and there's so many horrific things happening, and these wars and genocides and immigration protests. That made it sound like I was against the immigration protests. Not what I meant. I meant the division in our time on Earth that is causing people to be violent. And then I have to go to war with the ladybugs. And I know that's not even remotely the same, but it still feels bad. Hey, dumb crow. We got dogs and crows. The dogs are actually helping me in the fight against the crows. And the crows are harassing me. One crow, oh, there goes the alarm. You ever set 45 alarms just in case you don't wake up? Like, what was my plan? What was my plan with these alarms? That I'd be dead? And the phone would just be going off and my wife would find me bloated on the bed in 3 days when she comes home from her work trip? My goodness. My goodness. Yeah, I have a very pessimistic outlook on how I'll wake up when I set 20 alarms in the morning. I am that guy. And people find that guy very annoying and frustrating, and I know that. You don't want to live with that guy. But yeah, I set 45 alarms just in case I'm having a tough one. Anyway, I'm at war with the ladybugs, but yeah. The shows have been going well. I think there is I said this last time, but just to be new in London is so tough. You should move to London when you have connections and know people so you can already get booked. And I have a little bit of that. I've been fortunate to have a little bit of that. Have been doing comedy long enough in New York and Montreal that I have met some people, and that's been very nice. But then besides that, nobody knows me. So you go to mics and there's so many just like really cliquey, gatekeepery comics, and I think maybe more so in London than other places because London doesn't really have a lot of pure open mics where you can go just kind of pop in, prove yourself, meet a few people, and move on. Because a lot of these comics, they just won't respect you until they've seen you do a set, but then there's not a lot of opportunities for you to do a set in front of them. So like I have a friend who runs a show and he told me, oh yeah, like we'll book you, but then also just come hang sometime. We'll try to throw you up if there's space. So I had nothing going on a few Mondays ago and I go down and I'm hanging and he's not there. My friend's not there. He's closing, so he's coming later. So I'm just hanging. I introduce myself to the people running the show and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, this guy told me to come down. Hey, if you have any dropouts, you know, I'd love to pop on, but hey, I'm good to hang. I just want to watch the show, you know? Something like that. You try to be nice and cordial. You got to state your intention. You can't just hang around hoping something's going to happen because it never will. You got to go, hey, if there are some dropouts, I would love a shot. But he really just big manned me. He really was just like, oh, okay. Really kind of cast this look on me where I could tell. He was like, I don't give a fuck about this guy. I don't respect this guy. Who is this? And I get it. If a lot of people are coming and hanging and asking for spots, that is annoying. I know that's annoying. I tried to say it in a nice way where I was like, look, I'm happy to hang and watch the show or whatever. And I'm just making small talk and I knew one of the comics on the bill, so I'm talking with him. But I could tell, I felt awkward. I felt like I'm at the high school prom again, I'm at the Sadie Hawkins dance hoping a girl's gonna pick me. Hoping I get picked for dodgeball, and I just know no one thinks I'm good at dodgeball. No girl thinks I'm cute. It really is like pursuing a woman in middle school. It's so annoyingly difficult. And so you sit there and you feel like an absolute chump. And then eventually, in the second half of the show, my friend shows up and sees me, and he's super happy to see me. And then he leans over to the guy who's kind of been just blowing me off and like whispers in his ear. And then that guy comes over and goes, oh, okay, we can actually throw you up before the headliner if you want a quick spot. And I said, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I've never been more grateful for anything. And then I did the spot and then I do well. And then immediately it's a vibe flip. He sees you do well. And then all of a sudden he's your best goddamn friend. And you're like, I was this person the whole time. But if I come in and say like, hey, I know a person, I'm just gonna hang out. If you have any dropouts, let me know, man, but nice to meet you. You could be nice to that guy. This is my other gripe. You just could be nice. You don't have to be kind of a dick until you see that I'm good enough that maybe I'm useful to you. I think that's what it is. It's like you only become a person once either I can give you something or I can be used for something. And we're all just human beings doing this dumb little hobby. We're all just humans. You could just be a nice human. Anyway, that's my gripe. Oh, what a rant. I'm a nasty boy. I'm a nasty boy ranting today. Which it does bring me to my third and final gripe. When people tell you, oh, maybe this all happened for a reason, but the thing they're talking about is something they did that sucked for you. Okay? Because I've been I'll start off by saying I'm fortunate enough to have gotten booked some places, but I still want to try new material, go out, meet people in the comedy scene. So I go out and I'm doing these open mics, and in London they're dreadful because there's not really open mics here, so like the 3 that exist are just some of the worst shit you have ever seen. So I go to this one and I sign up, and then the hosts are fighting immediately. The hosts are fighting on stage. One of the hosts is on stage being like, oh, I must have pissed him off. He won't even get up here. Oh, this is a shame. It's like a weird vibe. Then the mic doesn't work for 30 minutes. You're just eating time. And then you're supposed to be able to go and just line up, and if you are in the first X amount of people, they'll have you for the open mic. But then one of the hosts told like 12 of his friends, yeah, you're good, just come by for a spot. So then there's like 38 people trying to do 5 minutes of just new material, test shit out. That's what an open mic is, just to test shit out, low stakes. And so I'm like, great, I'm not one of the friends. I did line up, but I'm going to be deep in this list. And that's fine. I don't know people here. You got to pay your dues. But they had mismanaged the whole night, and they had a hard cutoff. So when you have like 38 people, you're not going to get everybody in like an hour and a half. So then everyone has just been waiting. It was longer than that. It was like I got there an hour early to fucking line up, and then it's like a 2-hour show, but plus a break. It's just a mess. At the end, you're there for 4 hours, and they go, sorry, the bar says we have to leave. We're out of time. Everybody go home. And you're like, that was 4 hours of my life. Just to try a new joke and hopefully meet some other people in the scene, none of which happened. I chatted with a few people, and it's also, I don't know, because there's no open mics, because people in London really focus on doing whatever bringer shows or getting past where they can actually booked places. The actual open mic scene is like, it's just like a Kill Tony reject pile. It's usually a nightmare. Maybe there's 1 or 2 people you respect, but you're just sitting through absolute dog shit so you can try a new joke that you wanted to try, so that you didn't have to try it out at a booked show. You just wanted to try something new. Anyway, so the actual gripe is that afterwards I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, and I'm leaving. And the host, she was actually very nice. She's a lovely person. She was like, hey, I'm sorry we couldn't get you up. Everybody's mad at me. And I was like, don't worry about that. It's all good. Shit happens. You know, there was a part of me that was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? But it wasn't directed at her. I was like, this is just comedy, and a lot of times comedy sucks. A lot of times it is the dumbest thing to ever pursue in your life. And she was like, yeah, well, that's a good attitude to have. Maybe it was just the strawberry moon. And you're like, okay, fine. Maybe it was the strawberry moon that threw this night into chaos. Maybe the strawberry moon caused the rift in your friendship, caused the issues with the audio, caused this whole thing to fall apart. And she goes, maybe you should ask yourself, maybe there's a reason you didn't get up tonight. And you're talking with this person and you're like, are you insane? Is this a mental illness? Because I'll take everything in life in stride. I'll be like, look, things happen, they're out of your control, that's fine. But when someone is like, hey, maybe the night that I ran super poorly, that was an absolute shit show, that had you down here just sitting in the back of a room waiting for 4 hours for nothing, maybe that's actually a character building exercise. Like, maybe the swear words about to erupt out of my mouth are a character building exercise for you. Did you think about that? So yeah, when people do something dumb that directly affects you, and instead of just being like, I'm sorry, shit happens, whatever, they're like, actually, maybe the planets aligned because this is a lesson you need to learn. No, maybe it's not. You can apply that to every toxic decision you make. I think is that gaslighting? I think that might be gaslighting. So yeah, how long have I been talking? Nobody knows. But yeah, I was talking about this American comic, and he's talking about the judgment of the English people. Now, they've been getting in my head about this. The judgment of the English people. They're like, oh, you should go do this show, but they don't really like Americans. They don't like American accents. And I don't think that's true of everyone. I mean, American comedy is pretty dominant in terms of comedy style that's out there. But I do think there are a lot of old English men who are kind of just like, Their default setting is, well, you'll have to prove yourself to me. Not an English accent, but they have a judgment up front immediately, especially with the American accent, because they assume we're all like, righteously self-entitled a-holes. And we are. And we are. And that's what's fun about us, because we're the best. Now, dog party. People always get in your head. They're like, you should do this show, but they hate Americans or whatever. So I was talking about this American comic, and he was talking about how he went to do a show in Leicester, which is like, it's a train ride away. So he takes this train ride, maybe like longer than an hour. And it costs money, right? Like 15 pounds to get there, you know, 20 American bucks. And he goes, and it's a gong show, which I talked about before. They're just like humiliation rituals. At any point, some judges they elected from random drunk people in the crowd can be like, get this guy out of here. So he travels like an hour and a half, 2 hours to do this show that he's just trying to prove himself on, maybe make a few friends and leave. And he gets there, and 30 seconds into his set, maybe even less than that, 24 seconds into his set, one of those drunk judges is like, nope, gone. 2 hours for 30-ish seconds, and then he's all defeated. He got nothing out of this, and he gets on the train to go home, doesn't realize that the train back, he didn't buy a round-trip ticket, train back cost 60 quid. 85 American bucks. Ooh, ooh, you're $100 in the hole for 30 seconds of comedy that they hated. So everyone has been getting in my head about this, and I think I've been approaching this like, okay, no matter what, just off the top, I'm gonna say something that is gonna address the fact that I'm American, but make me likable. And I have been slowly betraying my countrymen, and I'm sorry about that, because all these Americans, when they're abroad, you know, you have to start off and be like, oh, you can tell from my accent that I'm pretending to be Canadian. And there are some Americans that do that, to be fair. I'm not going to do the bit for you. But there are some Americans that do that, you know, because a lot of us Americans nowadays, we have shame. We have shame, you know, because of all the reasons. But we have the shame, and we're a trickster people. Oh, some of these coward Americans, they want to go to Europe and not tell you that they're American. They want to pull the wool over your eyes. So you'll be talking with them. You'll be like, oh, I thought this guy was American, but I guess he's just a racist from Toronto. I guess he's a Canadian fellow who is really passionate about January 6th. I don't know. I see these people online. I've never encountered this in person, but I see people online putting Canadian flag pins on everything. Who is that for? Is that tricking people? Because Americans are the only people that are putting flags on stuff. No one else is doing that, except for, like, I don't know, North African drivers. I always look at the little things that dangle from the rearview mirror, and it's always like Sudan, Eritrea, I guess Iraq and the Middle East as well. Those guys Arab guys love the little things that hang down in the rear view, which I support. Fly the flag, brother. Fly the flag. Be proud. But Americans particularly, we love the flag, and we're putting it on everything. So when we're like, oh, put a Canadian flag on it, like Canadians aren't walking around with Canadian flags. It is just another giveaway that you're an American in disguise, a spy, where, oh, we're a trickster people. I don't know why we love the flag so much more than other people. I mean, there's something about nationalism or whatever in there. Look at this little bee hard at work. Something about nationalism, that's probably not good, but yeah, I just feel like every American, like you were a kid, you went to Memorial Day, the soldiers shot the blank guns, you and your friends tried to reach for the cartridges as a souvenir. They had a big fucking flag. You saw your dad cry for the first and only time. The first time, and the second time was when you watched Band of Brothers with him. You know, so it's like this meaningful thing that gets seared into your mind of like the flag, it means community. It means our values. However fucking true that is. And then we just put them everywhere. We put them everywhere. The biggest flags I've ever seen, Olympic-sized flags, are just over a car dealership. Just a car dealership somewhere. And that's the American dream, just a big, beautiful American flag flying over a Turkish car dealership, selling Japanese automobiles to 16-year-old American kids who take fentanyl, pass out, and drive it through a Chinese restaurant. That is the America that I believe in. It's sorry, there's a guy looking at me and a bee, and I got self-conscious. So what did I want to talk about? I do love the big flags over car dealerships, though. We make the biggest flags ever, and we just put them up over a car dealership. So you drive past and you go, oh no, this is what we fought for. No, that's I like when the car dealership, you put the biggest flags ever over a car dealership. And I also like when the car dealership puts the flags at half-mast. They're following the rules. So you drive past a half-mast, huge flag above a Toyota dealership and you go, oh no, a famous car died. You salute. And that's a joke for your children. That's a joke for kids and normal wives. That's who that joke is for. Oh yeah, I can leave you with this. Because people will come up to you in your life and they'll tell you, I don't know, I used to think I was special as a kid. I think all kids did, but I think I had a little bit of the narcissism that had to be beat out of me through society. You know when you're a kid, you kind of think you're the only person that's alive, and then eventually your parents are like, we're humans. And you're like, yeah, I know what a human is. And then they're like, you're a human too. And you're such a child, you're like, I'm a human? I thought I was an eternal God placed on this earth to have everything catered towards me. No, I don't think I ever thought that exactly. But you do kind of feel like you have this inner experience and you're such a child that you kind of think you're the only one having an inner experience. Like I remember being in kindergarten and there was this kid, Ian, and Ian was really upset about something. You know, he had been having a big fit on the playground, and this other person was really upset because they had caused Ian's fit. Some of their actions had caused Ian's fit. And I remember going like, don't worry about Ian. He won't remember anything tomorrow. He'll wake up, it'll be like this never happened. And then Ian was like, hey, I remember when you said that 2 days ago. You know, I do remember 2 days ago. I remember when things happened. And it was kind of a moment I realized that I wasn't the only person that remembered things. I thought everyone woke up just like an NPC, just booted up and went through the routine. And I was the only one with a rich inner life, but that was incorrect. I think that I've just met a lot of crazy people that have tried to jazz me up in life. Like I had a girlfriend when I was 16 and she was like, you know what I love about you is you're a crystal child. I think that's what it was. She was like, I'm an indigo child. She was a little older, 2 years, not bragging. She was like, you know, the indigo children, they were sent to Earth so that they could shape the new age, and then the crystal children will inherit the new age and go on to rule. And that, I was like, this may be mental illness, but I don't hate being called a crystal child. I don't hate someone telling me I'm a special boy, I'll be honest. I went on a family trip to DC when I was a kid, and my mother and I and my brother, we walked along the canals, and I was always a big wistful, just in my head kid. I'm kind of like not sulking, but meandering about. I'm thinking about bullshit, you know, again, thinking I'm the only one with whatever rich inner life. And we're on the canals where they filmed Exorcist. And this guy comes up, and my parents are a little ahead, and he kind of grabs me. This should be a terrifying moment, but I was like, he's gonna tell me something important. And he goes, you kid, you get it. All these other people, they don't get it, but you get it. You see the world how it is. And I was like, thank you, sir. Finally, someone saw my Holden Caulfield ass out here. Someone got that I'm an important guy with shit going on. And it took me many years to realize that guy was just a wino. That guy was day drinking on the canal and talking to random people's children. And why was my mother not concerned? That should have resulted in a fist to a mouth. It should have resulted in getting pushed into the canal and banished from society. You cannot run up to random kids and tell them they're special boys. That is the prelude to a molestation. That is the prelude to a dark moment in someone's life. But of course, in my Holden Caulfield era, was just like, yeah, I deserve this because I am a special boy. And that's bad. I think instead someone should have come up and just sucker punched me and said, you're not special and you need to realize that everyone is doing their best. And would have probably helped me better. And they should write books for that. Maybe that was the takeaway of Holden Caulfield. I think if I'm remembering correctly, that might have been the takeaway. Anyway, this was Dave on the Green, episode 2. I feel like a fucking idiot out here, and it's getting hot, and the suit jacket ain't breathing. So I love you. Goodbye. Oh, and book me in London.